another lunchtime live. You guys know the drill. Sorry I don't have all my backgrounds and all that stuff, man. I do what I do when I can. Things have been busy for me, but also things have been very, very, very quiet for the Raiders. It's the time of year. It's all speculation season. Everybody's talking about these theoretical quarterbacks and all this stuff. So I wanted to get in here and talk about something else, anything else, right? What I wanted to talk about today is the Raiders free agents that we need to be looking at, bringing back. Who are we going to let test the waters? Who are we going to let go? And who do we really want to hold on to? Um, so there's a couple of things, man. There's a couple of things going on with that. And I got a list here, man. It's not exhaustive, man. It's just, you know, before my lunch break hit, man, I just had a couple of names come to mind. Billy Davis in the building. Salute, salute. What's good, man? I had a couple of names come to mind, man. I just kind of jotted them down. So this list is not exhaustive. So, if I leave somebody out, don't say, "Oh no, he doesn't know anything about the Raiders." It's just this is just what I wrote down real quick. But one of those is Adam Butler. We got Nate Hobbs, Trayvon Merri, Marcus Epps, Robert Spillane, Amir Abdullah, Harrison Bryant, Kayon Chason, Malcolm Koonce, and Divine Diablo. Now, I know that there's more, but these are the guys that I really, really wanted to talk about, right? These are kind of like the bigger name guys, some of the guys that I personally would like to see come back. Some of the guys on here I don't want to see come back. And I just wanted to get with the nation, man, and talk with you guys about it, because today the NFL announced that they informed teams that the salary cap for 2025 is going up, man. And that's good. Tamil Memes, good morning. What's good? What's good? Billy Davis saying Koonce, Robert, Nate Hobbs. Yeah, man. So the salary cap for 2024 for the NFL was 255 million. Now, 2025, the salary cap is going to be 281 million. So that's definitely good to see. It goes up by about $26 million. And that increase of $26 million can actually make a pretty significant difference on who we're able to keep, who we let go, and what do we do about the quarterback position, right? This is all the thumbnail. Everything was a trick, you guys, to get in here so we could talk about the quarterback. Just kidding. But we'll probably touch on that a little bit as well. But really, I mean, I think Adam Butler, right? He was the first name that came to mind, and I put this on the list. Vaughn, what's good? What's good? Moody Mike, good to see you, man. Adam Butler played his ass off, right? Adam Butler absolutely played his ass off. He was one of those guys that Max Crosby was really pumped during the offseason last year that, he was really making strides. Adam Butler has been talking about wanting to be in the conversation with Max Crosby, with Christian Wilkins. He wants to be in that conversation, right? And now, while he didn't come out here and play like a all-pro superstar or anything like that, he did come in here and really played his ass off on a defensive line that was absolutely decimated by injuries, man. And I got to say, Adam Butler really, really held it down. He was recently on a podcast where he said that he wants to remain a Las Vegas Raider, right? Like, this is where he wants to be. And I love that. And I know a lot of us in the nation, we got like kind of a soft spot for them guys that get out here and they just truly want to be a Raider, right? But that doesn't trump everything, right? That does not mean that we don't have to look at what's best for us, what's the price tag, because he also did say that he's basically not going to let anybody, how did he word it? Basically, he's not going to let anybody play him, right? He doesn't want to be shortchanged or anything like that, and I get that, right? But I don't think that Adam Butler has really earned like a huge contract, right? He played well. He had several sacks. He played well against the run. He was disruptive on the line. and he's a guy that I would love to see bring back, and it's a little bit difficult right now. I'm on my phone. I don't have, I can't pull things up and look at stats and look at the numbers. So I gotta just kind of mostly go off what's on the top of my head, man. I guess I could have taken better notes, but that's never been my thing, man. You can ask any of the teachers I ever had. So one of the things that we're looking at with Adam Butler is if the price is right. If we're looking at paying Adam Butler, some $10 million a year or something, like, I'm sorry, we gotta let him walk. But if we can get a reasonable price that works well for the Raiders, works well for Adam Butler, to where he doesn't feel like he's being shortchanged, and we can bring him back, I think that would be great. Bring him. He has that continuity with Christian Wilkins. He played with him on the Dolphins. He's already been playing with these guys on this defense. He already is used to Rob Leonard. He's used to Patrick Graham. I think it would be an ideal guy to bring back. Now, the next guy on my list is Nate Hobbs. Now, Nate Hobbs is, I like Nate Hobbs, right? He's a great slot corner. He plays very well. And the problem that I see with Nate Hobbs is just his ability or lack of ability to stay healthy. The fact that Nate Hobbs struggles so much to stay healthy really puts a hindrance on him really being able to get paid. And his production, while decent, isn't, it's not something to call home, to write home about, right? It's not something that, like, is this monumental, like, we absolutely have to re-sign him. And Nate Hobbs is one of those guys that I could see being, in a position where he ends up not re-signing with the Raiders. Now, given that's only if he gets a better offer somewhere else, and Nate Hobbs hasn't come out here and said anything like, "Oh yeah, I want to be a Raider," or anything like that, right? I believe Nate Hobbs likes being here, but what it comes down to is that, Nate Hobbs, he hasn't done enough to earn a huge contract. So I would hate to see us pay Nate Hobbs more than a couple million a season, you know. And if he's not happy with that, man, he's probably gonna have to walk. Moody Mike, so far I love our coaching staff. I have faith in them. I hope we hit a home run in free agency and the draft. I know what I would do. Moody Mike, let me know what you would do, man. I would love to talk about that. Rage put, where are you from? I am in New Mexico. New Mexico, that is a state. Gotta let everybody know every time it is a state. Next guy I want to talk about is Trayvon Merri. Now, Trayvon Merri is probably gonna be the biggest topic of, the free agencies that we already have on the roster, right? The free agents that we already have on the roster, and probably the most likely for us to not be able to retain. And I've seen different projections go out there, man. Like, some people are saying that he's worth 20 million a year. Some people are saying he's worth 10. Some people are saying he's worth 15. And what it really comes down to is Trayvon Merri. He was a second round pick, and he has really developed in a way that has really translated this last year, especially the last 2 years. The hell? Um, and so the most difficult part that we would have with Merritt is that safe, like, good safeties aren't, they're not like a dime a dozen. So they're outbid us for Trayvon Merritt. So, um, honestly, I think we might have to be in a position of either bringing in another safety or considering signing Marcus Epps, because I like Paul now, but him and Trey Taylor or Chris Smith, one of the other guys, I don't believe that they're in a position down right now. We really can't get the guy on number 6. I said we trade, we could get something really good in return for number 6, but we can see. There's a couple of things I'd like to see number 6, man, and touch on that real quick to the free agents, man. But The more I think about it, right, the more I look at it, it's like our number six pick. Only things that I'm actually really willing to do at number six is if like a Cam Ward or a Short Sanders fall to six, I would definitely jump on that immediately. Or Carter or Travis were to fall in. Like those are honestly only four picks today, right? Everything division, right? If you guys here with drafting at six, Graham is, I don't know if he's number six, man. I mean, McMahon is good. I don't know if he's worth us using our. And you can't always depend on being able to trade back, right? But there's rumors that their teams, even that they're looking to trade up, to right, move up one order to get the case. I don't know what have or extra picks because I don't really feel comfortable drafting Jackson Dart at number six, right? Now, late first round or early second round, sure, pick up Jackson Dart. I like Jackson Dart. At number six, that doesn't really seem like something that's in our best interest, man. I'm not so sure that I would want to do that. Like if on draft day they say the Las Vegas Raiders would pick number six, select Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, I would probably feel kind of messed up about that. I'd be like, dude, I think we're reaching. I know we need a quarterback, but I don't think he goes that high, man. Though I do think that he is going to end up going in the first round. I do. So, with Trayvon Merri, man, if we can get the price right on him, I absolutely think that he's one of those guys that we have to bring back. And there was this thing that went out about like if we franchise tagged him, it would cost 19 million, and that would be a stupid decision for us, honestly. I don't think that franchise tagging him is a good idea at all. I think we go ahead and go for the contract, and honestly, I'm not a salary cap guy, right? I'm not like a salary NFL nerd that can just like, crunch the numbers and all that shit. Like that's not who I am, right? I'm not an NFL expert. I'm a Raiders fan. That's it. And what it comes down to is that if we can keep him for a decent price, we must do that, but he's not worth overpaying for. Marcus Epps. I think that Marcus Epps played okay. He wasn't really great, honestly. He's probably going to be one of the several free agents that we're going to see walk. Now, if he came back for a pretty cheap deal, right? Like a 3 million or something like that, 2-year deal, whatever. Um, yeah, I'd go ahead and bring him back just because he's familiar with the Patrick Graham defense. He plays well at Trayvon Merri, and I'm just not convinced that Paul Mal is not going to beat him out for that position. So I don't think that he's worth giving like any kind of large contract to. Um, and I don't think that the Raiders are going to feel that way either. He sat out all year with the injury this year, and also I'm not even sure how well he's going to bounce back from that injury. So Marcus Epps is pretty low on the priority list, but Robert Spillane is basically he's not quite on the level of Max Crosby of like we absolutely must keep him. But I think that Robert Spillane is one of those dudes that we really, really, really need to look at keeping. Moody Mike, Billy, somebody, can you guys let me know if I'm having internet issues, man? Because if I am, man, you guys need to just tell me to shut it down. Straight up, man, because it happens sometimes, Let's see real quick. It's crazy, man. It's actually kind of getting hot in here. It's wild. So, Robert Spillane, and I keep seeing different numbers, man, that are not consistent. Some are talking 18 million, 27 million, and honestly, I don't know what to believe, man. I don't think linebackers are going that much. They were talking about maybe we franchise tag him, and that I think also is a bad idea. I don't think that there's a single player on the Raiders that we should be looking at franchise tagging. So, what it comes down to is that we should go ahead and re-sign him to a deal, man. We need to give him a deal. He does need to get paid by us, right? I think that he's more than earned getting a payday from us. I don't want it to be something ridiculous that sets us back, but I think that we need to offer Robert Spillane enough money that he wants to stay, because somebody's going to want to steal him, man. This dude was like leading the league in tackles for like most of the season. So we absolutely have to bring back Robert Spillane. Amir Abdullah is one of those guys that's, it's really hard to get a good read on how I feel about Amir Abdullah and bringing him back, because he was like our best running back this season, right? But he is not, he's supposed to be a third down back. And I think that it's worth bringing him back if we can keep him on like a 1 or 2 year deal. But I don't know how much Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll are going to prioritize keeping Amir Abdullah. I could see him walk, and that would kind of suck, but we still got Sincere McCormick. I think Zamir White is going to be cut. Honestly, I don't see any value in holding on to Zamir White. He's got way too many fumble issues. He doesn't have the vision. He just doesn't have it, man. He's just not that guy. And so I think that we're at a point where that's going to be a position that's really addressed in the draft. And a lot of people keep talking about, Ashton Jeanty. And yes, Ashton Jeanty is by far the best running back in this class. But I don't think that that's for us, man. I do not think that Ashton Jeanty is for us. I think that we need to really prioritize our top pick. The only way I'd even consider an Ashton Jeanty is if we are trading back and picking up Ashton Jeanty. But besides that, I think that really picking up one of these running backs that Chip Kelly had, there at Ohio State would really be ideal. Getting a Judkins, getting a Henderson, getting one of these guys that he's already familiar with his scheme. And if we could pick up both those guys, man, I would not be mad about that at all. If we used those 2 third-round picks to pick up both those running backs, I don't know if I'd like it if we use our second and third-round picks both on running backs. I'd feel a little bit weird about that one. But getting that duo to translate into the NFL, I think that would be a good pickup, man. Next guy I got on the list is Harrison Bryant. And for those of you guys just joining in, I talked about it at the beginning that the NFL informed teams today that the salary cap has increased. So in 2024, the salary cap was $255 million. It is going up for the 2025 season to $281 million, providing an extra $26 million in cap space. So the next free agent I wanted to bring up was Harrison Bryant, right? He's tight end. We signed him from the Bengals, and he's a decent tight end, right? We have Brock Bowers, we have Michael Mayer. Really, he's Harrison Bryant's going to be underutilized. He's not going to be a huge part of this team or the success of this team or the detriment of this team, any of that, right? He's just going to be another guy out there. Now, I do believe that we probably hold on to him as long as he's cheap. I liked what I saw from him, the little that we saw from him. The dude can block well. The dude, let's face it, Harrison Bryant isn't a big name to talk about, right? But I do believe that if we can hold on to him for very cheap, which he's not worth a whole lot of money, I think that we might as well do it. He's already familiar with the scheme, with the team, with the other guys in the tight end room, and I think that he's a good addition. Especially if we have an offensive coordinator that can actually use our tight ends. Instead of Luke Getsy, man. Okay, so Kayon Chason. Kayon Chason was a guy that was a first-round pick. He was deemed a bust. Everybody said he was a draft bust and all this stuff. We ended up picking him up, and he played his ass off for us, right? Now, he didn't quite have the Malcolm Koonce, like, um, just, showing out at the end of the year, but he did play very well for us, and he's a guy that I would love to see, as a depth piece. We want to have this rotational piece because ideally, what we're looking at this season for our defensive line would be Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler, and Malcolm Koonce. Those are our four starters, right? And then we got Tyree Wilson as a rotational piece, and then having Kayon Chason as another rotational end. I think that we definitely, I think that would be a good idea for us. Now he might do like a 1 year kind of prove it deal just because he had been listed as a bust and got a second chance with the Raiders. But I mean, the dude has not earned a payday yet. But I would love for us to keep him and get rid of Charles Snowden, man. After that DUI thing, I don't even know why he stayed on the roster at all. I think that was ridiculous. So the next guy on the list is Malcolm Koonce. Malcolm Koonce had a great end of the season. In the last 9 games, he got 8 sacks in 2023. During the offseason, there was all these reports before this last season started that he was just absolutely killing it in camp and that it looked great and all this stuff. And, it just didn't. He ended up injuring his knee, man. And when he got this knee injury, he was out for the whole season, and it totally disrupted the whole plans of this whole defense, honestly. And he was in a contract year. So there's pros and cons to this, right? Because we believe that he's going to come back healthy after this injury because, these knee injuries don't hold players out the way that they used to, right? But is he going to be up to speed, and is he going to be up to speed right away? We see it happen all the time. A player comes back from a major injury and it takes him like half the season to kind of get to full stride. And so I'm a little bit worried about that. And Koonce wants to get paid. And so there's different projections going out for him, talking about $20 million a year and this stuff. And really, I think that Malcolm Koonce, the best decision for him would be to stick with Patrick Graham and stick with the Raiders where he was able to really develop and show out, right? But we have to offer him enough money to stay, but we have to know that we're going to get our money's worth, right? And so, for him, I would like to see like a short deal, right? More of like a prove it deal, unless he's willing to take like a $8 million a year deal for 3 years or whatever. Like, sure, I would go for that. But as it stands right now, it might be in his best interest to do a short-term prove it kind of deal. That way he can come and show out and then get a bigger payday. And that might be worse for us, but for Malcolm Koonce, that might be better. And then the last free agent I want to talk about, and he even ended up on the side of my list because I totally forgot about him, right? And that is Divine Diablo. And Divine Diablo makes the list because I absolutely, for no price, do I want to see Divine Diablo starting for the Raiders. I want him out of here. Now, Divine Diablo, I believe, was a major liability. He had a whole lot of Divine Diablo had a whole lot of tackles, but it was always seemed to be like he's running after a guy, right? Like he's not closing the gap and stopping this guy and getting a tackle. It's more of he's making up for his mess up, and he's running the guy down to tackle him, right? There were so many games where crucial runs went through where Divine Diablo was supposed to be, or he just flat out missed the tackle, and a huge play broke loose that ended up in the result of us losing the game. Now, I get it, right? People make mistakes. People don't always make the right play at the right time. But when you are getting beat on crucial plays that determine the outcome of a game, I want you out of here. Absolutely want him out of here. So, they keep talking about, oh, the Raiders have the second most cap space, and I've seen anywhere from 92 million to 108 million, right? I kind of believe that we're more like 92 million in cap space, which is fine, right? We got the second most in the NFL right now, but we have all of these free agents, right? And that is a whole lot of people that we got to sign to new deals to bring back, which actually puts us having probably more like 40 million. Now, with that 40 million, if you add that 26 million on top of that, then we're upwards of $60 million in cap space after bringing back our free agents. And if and I'm not a mathematician, man, but if my numbers are correct on this, then that really puts us in a situation where we can go out there and get a couple of big splash players, right? And I don't think that we're going to do a Myles Garrett, right? Myles Garrett wants to go to a contender, and we got to be able to prove that we're going to be a contender, right? Just because we got Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly doesn't mean shit, right? We don't have a quarterback, and we need to do something about that. So, like every other video that keeps going out and that I've had, and we got to talk about the quarterback, right? And, you know, I made a video where I was talking about Sam Darnold, right? And how much he just kind of makes sense. And the more I look at the situation, the more I do not like it. I don't know that Sam Darnold has done enough to prove that he's worth what he's about to get paid. I've seen projections of $100 million guaranteed deals where he's signing a deal for 170 million with 100 million guaranteed, which I think is ridiculous, right? And I don't think that that's what it's going to be, but it's going to be it's going to be an expensive deal. And if this is an expensive deal, I don't think that Sam Darnold being the Raiders' long-term solution is what's best for us. Now, there was a report that went out. The report that went out was the head coach of the Vikings was saying that Sam Darnold has earned a chance to go out there and test free agency, right? But another report just hit where it's looking like, so Byron Murphy and Sam Darnold were the two players that the Vikings were looking at maybe franchise tagging, right? And they worked some deal with Byron Murphy to where his contract doesn't expire yet, that it's actually going to expire one day before the new league year starts, which means that they can't franchise tag him. So that's led to speculation that Sam Darnold might get franchise tagged by the Vikings. And honestly, that's probably a good move for them because I don't think that JJ McCarthy is going to be healthy yet. But then I've also saw a thing that went out where it's sounding like the Rams may have interest in picking up Sam Darnold. That way they can get younger at the quarterback position and then moving on from Matthew Stafford. I like Matthew Stafford. I'd be happy if he ended up being a Raider. I think that he'd be a good mentor towards a future quarterback that we draft. However, he's 37, 38 years old. Kind of pricey, and we'd have to give up draft capital to go get him. And then, we've talked about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields and all these other free agent quarterbacks. And I honestly think that there's only 3 quarterbacks that are veterans that might end up with the Raiders. And like I said, everything is subject to revision. I might have a totally different idea about this next week, right? But I would say that the 3 quarterbacks that we might actually end up with would either be Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford, or Aaron Rodgers. I think that all 3 of those quarterbacks don't make sense for us, and all 3 of them do make sense for us. And out of those 3, really, the easiest one to really even look at would be Aaron Rodgers because he's already getting released by the Jets, so he's going to be a free agent, so you don't have to trade anything for him. And then if Aaron Rodgers signs another deal, he's not getting $50 million a season. He's not. So if you can pull an Aaron Rodgers for more like $35 million, 1 or 2 year deal, I would go for it. And yes, I know he's a locker room cancer and he's toxic and all these things, right? But he's a good quarterback. He threw for 3,800 passing yards, 28 touchdowns. He had similar stats to Josh Allen, who won the MVP, right? And so, and that's on the Jets. It makes sense to me, even if he's not willing to really help develop a rookie quarterback. I mean, I don't think it matters. I don't think that Brett Favre was developing Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers was developing Jordan Love, right? Like, these guys just got to be behind this quarterback and watch what he does and learn. And sometimes the most important message that somebody can teach is what not to do. Can learn these are the bad habits, stick away from that, and then these are the things that let's face it, he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. These are the things that a Hall of Fame quarterback does for longevity in his career. So, you guys, I got to get back to the office. You guys let me know, man. Let me know what you think about this. Who did I not mention about Raiders free agents that we need to keep or cut, right? You guys let me know down in the comments. Like always, I love you, nation. I'll catch you on the next one.